Hi guys, it's me, Yaya. Forget it. Forget that you saw that. I was trying to figure that out, and it's been a few years, to figure that out. Like, why can't I figure out a cube? But I think there's something else I've been like trying to figure out too. But not really like trying to figure out, more like trying to see if it's like valid. Astronomy is amazing, and I have a co-author here today. He's also written his own books, but today he's talking about a book he co-authored. I'm going to go ahead and show that to you today. And in Mr. Bernie Ashman, and I hope I said that right, is Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon.
Yeah.
So releasing the past and embracing the future, some people can't do that. And so I'm thinking that I'm not one of those people, but I really truly want to know, like, not how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but I want to know more about astrology. And then you go into something different. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But thank you and welcome to the show, Bernie. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me today.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we have to go back a little bit because not everybody like wakes up in the morning and says, "Hey, I think I want to go into astrology today." I think I want to be like this astrologer. It's not always welcomed. So, what helped you along to become an astrologer to go down this path?
Yeah, there had been some really good books. I got into this in 1973, a long time ago.
Mm,
So I've been doing this a long time, and
wow.
I ran into a book by an astrologer, Dane Rudyard, a French guy,
Mhm.
and it was the astrology of personality. And I was always interested in psychology, but astrology just really brought everything to me to the forefront in so many different ways. When you get a chart done, it's really like a blueprint of our consciousness and who we are. It just explains so many things about what we want in a relationship. Um, in some ways, it tells why we came here in the first place, like what brought us here into this lifetime. And it's an exciting field right now for astrology. It's been like that for a while. I'm more of an inventor in a lot of ways, and I brought some new techniques into astrology to help it easier to make it easier to digest it. And I'm always more interested in helping guiding people to what they want to accomplish.
Mhm.
It's, that's really the main thing. And what brought me into this whole thing, I just was really excited when I found it because I just thought it was a beautiful way to just describe who we are and clarify things, whether we have an issue, maybe a way to we could get clearer on how to get through it. Um, and sometimes, people just want to know to just get clearer about certain situations, certain time periods they're in. And I've just developed a lot of experience on being able to help people just move forward. Everybody gets stuck once in a while. We all do.
Yeah.
None of us are perfect. And I think what I love about astrology, it doesn't try to necessarily tell you what to do, but the way I practice it, I always give people options, which door you might want to walk through during a certain time period. And this is what's so beautiful about astrology. It just points to so many different ways you can actually accomplish something.
Mm.
Whether you want to launch a new business, um, whether you want to develop a career, whatever it is you're trying to do. I have people ask me at times, how to get along with their kids better. Um, just different things. So there's just so many ways you can use this information.
Yeah.
So my main thing, I'm a pretty positive person. I'm not Pollyanna. I don't try to paint a wonderful picture if somebody's really struggling, but I'm pretty positive about things because if you look at some of the negativity in the world at times and you want to develop more of a positive attitude, um, uh, good astrology really does that. I mean, it's just a way to just get clearer about, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish at some point in time. Does that make sense?
It does, and I've always had this curiosity about a lot of different things. I'm a curious person. Not that I believe in everything, but just
Right.
curiosity. And you know how they say, my grandmother used to tell me, curiosity killed the cat. I'm like, is there a dead cat around here somewhere? You're not telling
Yeah,
me
really.
because I'm There is got to be a dead cat around here somewhere.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I have had the curiosity, and recently it's so funny because recently I came across a I guess it was like a book in the library that said that we're missing out on different times of the year that we should be doing things. And it is related to astrology because that's how you gauge your seasons. You know that when you see this up in the sky, winter is coming. When you see this up in the sky, spring is coming. So there is a coalition. There is like a similarity or a companionship, I should say, with
Yeah.
the seasons. But is there really a companionship with your time? Like today's my birthday. It's a
Right.
wonderful thing, right?
Happy
And I was
birthday.
born September 8th, 1972.
Right.
And so, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, a lot of people just don't believe in it. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying I don't believe, I'm not saying I do, but I am very curious about it. I mean, what
Right.
is it that helps you get along knowing when the stars are out, what constellations out, and all of that?
Yeah. Um, you can, you, for me and other astrologers, if they're really good at this, can look at a particular time period. We're born with a particular chart. It's called the birth chart. It's like a blueprint, as I was saying earlier. It describes us in a lot of ways, but through time, um, the sky is moving, it's changing, and it interacts with us with the chart that we have.
Hmm.
And there's ways to really um, look at a particular time period. Some people, when they contact me, I can pretty much know how old they are by their age. There's particular cycles that are active. 2025, this year,
Right.
I've never seen a year like this before with
I have.
astrology. It's
Yeah.
powerful. I mean, these outer planets have changed signs, some of them that haven't done this in a long time. And it stirs things up when this happens. Um, it seems like, in a way, they magnify what we're going through at times. It doesn't mean it's bad. It intensifies. Like if you're trying to accomplish something, get something off the ground. Sometimes it's under these intense cycles that everything happens. I've experienced this myself um, when I was trying to launch a book, and I looked at, wow, these things are really on fire right now. I ought to just go for it. It's just like a surfer. When a person is trying to surf and they want to find those waves, that can carry them and give them quite a surf experience.
Hmm.
Well, with astrology, there's different cycles that happen during certain years for people. It doesn't mean like every year is a powerful one, but here's the catch. Any year can be an empowering year um, if you know how to interpret symbols.
Hmm.
Astrology is a symbolic language. It's been around for centuries, and you could go back to other civilizations. Um, the main thing I wanted to do was modernize it, to bring it to where people are now in the technology world, in all these different worlds we're in. Um, whether you're into, I watch QVC with my wife today, and
Uh-huh.
she gets real excited when she sees these styles. And then she'll go, oh, no, not that one again. That's so 1980s. But then she'll turn the channel or they'll bring in something else out and she'll go, wow, it's about time you did that. Astrology is like that. It's identifying what's new for a person. Maybe they do want to leave something behind. Maybe they've just come out of a relationship that they needed to get out of, and there's a new energy in their life.
Hmm.
But any time period I have found can be lively if that's what a person wants. Sometimes people want calmness.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get tired of the intensity. I do. I mean, sometimes I just want to relax. I've just written a book or I've just worked with a lot of clients in a particular time period and I want to just relax. There's nothing wrong with comfort. And some people need to find that. Astrology is a great tool for that, even to find those themes that'll show you how to find that comfort zone. Self care. Some people don't take good enough care of themselves. I mean, sometimes we're all victims,
Hmm.
we work and we work and we work. I just learned how to hit the brakes. I'm older now, in my 70s. So it's not like when I was in my 20s when I got into this and I was really moving in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. It's not that I don't have any energy anymore. My brain's working fine, but I can tell sometimes I just want to take it easy. But sometimes young people, they're burned out. Maybe they got kids, they got a career at the same time. You just name it. And because of the way the world is, and they're trying to find that stability within themselves. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you meditate and you're trying to find your center. Um, I got introduced to meditation years ago, and I still do it because I want to get centered at times. Well, some people don't meditate, but they have other ways of they want to calm themselves. Some people come to me and they go, I just can't slow down. And I look like there's this planet Uranus that has to do with mental stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
You get restless under it if you're in a cycle with it. And
Mm.
they just know their brain is just going on fire and they want to slow down. And sometimes they're coming to see me and I'll just tell them about cycles they could use to slow it down a little bit. You'll get more mileage out of it. Sometimes people are going so slow they're bored. Um, what will pick me up? And I'm trying to find those cycles for them during a time period. It's that balance, that whole thing about balance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you get tired of hearing about it after a while.
Mm.
In a way, we're seeking that to some extent,
Yeah.
how to do that. So I guess my main point is there's so many ways to use this. It's like a whole new frontier,
Oh yeah.
you
Oh
know.
yeah. And
Me.
you talk in your book about what is it what was it? Hold on a second. I'm looking here my questions. You have the moon's cycle, the no. What is that? What is nodes?
The nodes are the way the moon actually moves. There's a there's a north part of the moon and a south part of it. In astrology, when you get your chart done, there's something called the north node of the moon that comes right out of the moon's movements. And there's something called the south node of the moon. There are really important parts of us. Um, when I said earlier about what brought us here in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
you can pinpoint it through the nodes of the moon. They're always opposite each other. They move together from one lifetime to another. And we bring patterns in very much through the south node of the moon. It's got a lot to do with past life patterns. The north node looks like a pair of right side up headphones. The south node looks like an upside down pair of headphones. The north node is like a new energy we're bringing in, a new theme of some sort. It's not that the south node is bad. For instance, my south node's in Scorpio, um,
Okay.
and it's an intense sign. It doesn't mean all sun sign Scorpios that are listening to me today feel that way, but there is a depth to the sign, a natural depth of emotion, feeling. But it's a great sign for research. I've used it extensively um, in my work. It is a sign that has to do with rebirth. If something isn't working right, how do you rebirth it? How do you bring a new energy into a lifetime you're in? So um, the nodes are really interesting points in a chart. In every chart that I've done over the years, I've always found they're important. They're really important in relationships, the way we relate to other people. Um, they have a lot to do with the way we communicate with people, how we negotiate with them, how we get along with them, and maybe what kind of partner you want. What kind do you need? Do you need one that's more intense? Do you need one that isn't so intense? Um, or you'd rather go like a balance of that, you could say. Um, but there are really important symbols that my co-author Carmen and I did this book together, and she wrote half the book, and I wrote half of it. We
Mm-hmm.
picked what we wanted to write about, what we just felt like might make the book go quicker.
Right. Right.
When we had the book edited, the editor couldn't tell who wrote what. She said, "I've never had two co-authors that write with a similar style." And I know both of you really know what you're doing because you've been doing astrology for a long time. But it was really interesting to have a co-author. First time I ever tried to co-author a book with anybody, and it just so happened her nodes of the moon are just the opposite of mine. My
Mm.
north node's in Taurus, my south node's in Scorpio. Her north node's in Scorpio, her south node's in Taurus. So it just worked out the opposites played
Yeah.
off of each other really well. So I thought that was kind of fascinating, and so did she. So
Wow.
there's all different ways. I do a lot with relationships. I've worked with a lot of people with couples, and
Hmm.
it's always interesting to see. You talk about chemistry, how one person's chart will play off of another, how their energies get along. Maybe how one person brings out the passion in the other, or maybe they do it to each other.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe one person doesn't want to express any feelings. The other does, but they seem to get along anyway. They found a way to navigate the relationship. One of the bonuses of astrology when you get a chart done, it shows you how to navigate your life, um, how to make choices that might be good for you. I always give people options. I don't try to tell them, well, there's only one way of doing this if you're a particular sign or you've got a planet over here. It's more of bringing out in a person just more choices for them. That's what they want often. So they play off of me that way very often.
Wow.
I've done thousands of charts, so it's always been fascinating to me how people use this stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I find it interesting. I do a lot of, like I said, I'm very inquisitive. I want to know. Okay, I have stupid questions sometimes, and I want them answered. Okay,
right, no, me
but,
too.
but I I find, and I found this another video, and it was on YouTube. How the moon's gravitational pull can affect people's moods, people's outlook, their depression. You
Right.
know, um,
Yes.
yeah, ADHD is affected by it because the actual gravitational pull that we're going through determines high tide and low tide. And
Yes.
why wouldn't it affect the humans that live on there as
Sure.
well?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
are we saying that in astrology, now this is just me thinking, it's got nothing to do with truth. This
Right.
is a big, stupid question, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna answer,
No,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
ask it. Are we saying that astrology, the actual atmosphere that we live in, the universe that we live in, has a direct pull on our emotions, our beings, our cycles?
Well, in a way, that's very, very correct. Um, it's funny you mentioned the moon. We live in a society that they talk about the sun sign a lot. What's your
Hmm.
sun? What's your sign? Well, the moon sign in astrology is very important because the moon is like our inner landscape. The sun is more represents like our ego needs, our ego strength. The moon represents our feelings, our moods, our instincts. So in astrology, the moon works that way.
Mm.
Um, some people are very sensitive to the gravitational force of the earth.
Yeah.
Native Americans, in this country, always have impressed me. I studied Native Americans when I was in college, and got to know some when I lived down in Colorado. And I always found their connection to nature was so important.
Hmm.
And astrology is like nature to me.
Okay.
It's like a natural energy flow. It
Hmm.
shows how the universe works through you when you get a chart done.
Hmm.
Um, the universe is always working through us in one way or another. And I don't mean that even in an esoteric, out there kind of way. To me,
Hmm.
it's very natural that the universe works that way. Carl Jung really had a big impact on me, his work
Hmm.
um, with archetypes
Okay.
and his whole thing about synchronicity
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
intuition. And, and astrology is a big, in a way, it relates quite well to what he was talking about. People talk about synchronicity, like, God, I had a synchronicity experience today. I met somebody who really hit me just right, what I was trying to learn at this point in time.
Mhm.
Like when I discovered astrology in 1973, when I look back at it, it was just that particular day that
Mhm.
something opened. But the universe, to me, is always working through us. And what you're saying about those gravitational pulls, sure. I mean, that has its own reality. It wouldn't be. It just makes sense.
Mhm.
You know, when I lived in the Northeast growing up there, I was really you just not so extroverted. I was very introverted, but around age 18, 19, I moved down south in the
Mhm.
United States. It shifted my chart
Mhm.
into a whole different energy. So I think you could say that there are different, even gravitational forces by what part of the United States or country you might be living in. I've
Right.
seen that over and over again. I
Right.
work with something on an energy level called local space astrology, where you can take your chart as though you're walking out of it into different cities, parts of the U.S. or whatever country you're in. And you can follow it all the way around the world. So to me, there's a lot about energy with astrology at the same time,
Mhm.
um, but it's a very powerful symbolic language. That's what I found out about.
Wow.
So it 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 just is.
Wow.
So that's been my experience
And
of it.
I can see how a person can use astrology to keep up with things, to kind of slow down and speed up, especially if you're looking at the stars. And you know, if you're looking at stars with your eyes, but if you look at it with a nice high powered telescope, you
Right.
really get a good view of how minute and small we really truly are, and how many pulls and how many, you know, because we live in the Milky Way. A lot of people don't realize that we are in the Milky Way, like we
Right.
are there, you know. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of different things going on, a lot of different elements that can affect every single last person. But you have something in your book that I really, really wanted to touch on. And this has been coming up in my feed on YouTube and on a lot of different places a lot lately. And that is past lives. And
Yeah.
I've seen like kids, the one kid even predicted his murderer, you know, in his past life and took the police to the gravesite
Wow.
and they arrested the guy. Now,
Yeah.
I understand and I get it, and a lot of people don't believe in it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like children, 2 and 3 year olds that have never been in the towers and they said they died in the towers, and nobody's ever said anything to them about the towers,
Right.
I kind of, it kind of gets my juices stirring. Like, can this be real?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything like that is possible to happen. And you know, people when they get older, even start to get the feeling that maybe when they travel to another location, it's like I feel like I've been here before.
Hmm.
It's like this location knows me.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you start to get memories sometimes from when you visit certain locations. A chart, when you get a chart done, there are certain places to look in it for an astrologer, especially if they know what they're doing with it, that point to some past life themes. Not just these nodes of the moon that I'm talking about, but there's also other sections inside a chart. When you get a chart done, it's like a wheel. It's got 12 pie slices. They're called the houses. The planets live in signs inside of houses. It's just like if you're watching a play, the actor up there who's directing the action is more like the planets. Maybe their language or their vocabulary and a little bit more of their characteristics is more like the signs. The houses are like Act One, Scene One, where your life is taking place. So there is a zone in the chart called the 12th house that specifically has to do with what we have brought in. Um, when I look at a person's chart, I always get the feeling it doesn't cover every past life that we've
Mhm.
ever had, but it could be a group of them, like a theme we're trying to get better at it, clearer about. You know, in that book by Gary Zukov called Seed of the Soul, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
No.
he has a past life section in there. And one thing he said that I really agreed with, He said, say you've had several lives where you've tripped over the same pattern. Maybe you've attracted the same kind of person to you that you shouldn't be with, for instance, just for
Oh,
instance.
wow.
He said, if you can conquer that in the current life, you've actually neutralized all the pattern of those past lives. And
Wow.
that's really important
Mhm.
because in our cellular memory, we have these memories of other lifetimes. Um, and what happens sometimes during a particular month, a particular year of our life, something could get activated from a past life. Just a thought. Um, it's not all bad. Maybe you were an accomplished musician, and all of a sudden you want to pick up a guitar and get on it. So
Mhm.
you might be tapping into talents you've had before.
Oh, wow.
I felt like I walked into astrology. The more I got into it, it just felt familiar to me. Like it was something I knew. I'm grateful for that because I picked it up kind of quick.
Right.
And not everybody does that because there's a lot to learn in it.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot there, a lot of details. But
Yeah.
these past life patterns that me and my co-author Carmen got into in the book you have up there, the astrology's magical nodes of the moon, we talk about different patterns that can come up for a person and what you can do to help resolve those. You may not get the whole answer from reading a book, but it might point you in the right direction if there's a particular theme. I've worked with people that in this lifetime, they keep attracting they say, the same type person, and they can't understand how they did it because
Yeah.
they've been telling themselves they need to go in a different direction. And, it's a pattern any of us can get into with any kind of, thought. Um, Buddha said, guard your mind against negative thinking, be
Yeah.
vigilant. And sometimes we just get into a pattern of negative thinking during any time period. And we're just trying to get out of that. And, sometimes people come to see me and I'll just try to point them in a little different direction. Sometimes it's just a tweak, just a little movement,
Mhm.
to make that move, just an altered perception of some sort,
Mhm. Wow.
that
Wow.
kind of. So, yeah,
Wow.
I just got fascinated with past
This
lives.
is this is fascinating. It truly is fascinating for me because, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not trying to go there or anything, but as a believer, I understand in my mind that if the creator, like I believe in a creator, right? So if the creator came and said, "You're going back," what are you and who are you to say no?
Right,
It's
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
hello. I mean, if you're going to
Right.
go back, and your butt's going to go back. You just go back. If
Yeah, that's true.
there is
Yeah,
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going
yeah.
back.
Well,
So,
that's very true. Sometimes people will ask me, "Why did I get this chart?" And here's what I believe: we attract it. This
mm,
is what we needed to work out. Um,
yeah.
it's like the map that we needed to work out in this lifetime. Um, there's no perfect sign. Sometimes people say, "Well, maybe I shouldn't have been a Virgo. I should have been a different sign."
Who
And
cares?
it's kind of ridiculous, though.
It
I
is.
mean, from an evolutionary point of view, maybe that's the energy you needed to have.
Hmm.
Is what I always feel. So
Yeah.
we kind of get the chart we're supposed to have,
Yeah.
and so it's all kind of interesting. Some people get hooked on perfection. Like, how do I stop making something so perfect? That's what I had to understand when I wrote my first book. When I got my first book contract, I kept going over sometimes the same thing too much, and then I finally caught myself. So, there's so many different things. To me, uh, with astrology, it's kind of interesting because it always seems to point, if you look close enough into a person's life or chart when you're doing this, how to point them in a better, I say better, just give them another direction,
Hmm.
because maybe that'll help them just see
Yeah.
the way out of it. But,
Definitely.
but you're right. I mean, if you're here, there must have been a reason you're here.
Yeah.
So,
There's got to be a reason. I mean, and if you, I do feel like this. I mean, it's like a kid, right? When you're a kid, and and you're supposed to be cleaning the refrigerator. You're supposed to clean the kitchen. You sweep the floor. If you don't do it right, you think your parents are not going to say, go do that again?
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
No,
If we
exactly.
as Yeah, if we as parents want to make sure that you get it done so that you understand the lesson in it, I
Right.
don't see why the creator of all would not say, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Hello, the lesson you were supposed to learn, you didn't learn it. You're going back.
Yeah.
You can go on the floor like a 2-year-old. You can stammer. You can scream. You can holler. You can roll. You're going back. The next thing you
Exactly.
know, you're being born.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the way I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. And I mean, even karma is a funny thing. You hear a lot about the word karma,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can dwell on that too much because it's not like we're here to be punished for something we
Right.
did in the past life or something like that. It's just to get it a little bit right. If there's a theme in a person's my chart or somebody else's, um, there's no perfect chart. So there's no perfect people. So there's always going to be something we're trying to transcend, or I like the word transform it.
Hmm.
Just transform an energy of some sort, and that's pretty much been the kind of astrology I've practiced now for decades. Um,
Wow.
is the transformation possibilities um, with astrology. So sometimes people want to get more intuitive, and
Hmm.
there's plenty of intuition in a person's chart. Usually, sometimes it's just tapping into it. Um, for whatever reason, if there's a block, sometimes it's just maybe it is changing a location or just changing a thought pattern.
Right.
Opens it up. So
Wow.
yeah, I've always been very intuitive, and I'm grateful for that.
Hmm.
But it just got stronger as time went on, and if you know, I was on a I was being interviewed a while back on it was more of a technology type of podcast. And
Hmm.
it was really interesting because this is a year with a lot of technology kind of cycles in it. So,
Yeah.
you know, that are happening in the sky right now. So it's kind of fascinating, really, because each planet means something. Uh,
Hmm.
Uranus has a lot to do with technology. And when the computers first came along in the US, way back, if you go back in the 1940s and 50s, Uranus was starting to move into the sign Gemini. And it took it all the way until recently that it just came back into Gemini again. It usually takes it years to come back. And there's been a real rev up, with AI, of course,
Hmm.
um, and other types of technology. But Uranus is a planet of invention.
Hmm.
And where it is in your chart is where you're inventive.
Hmm.
And whatever it is, you could be inventive as a parent with your
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
You can interpret that. You can bring that down into earth in just so many different ways that you can interpret that. You could just be inventive if you're a school teacher. Maybe you just got an inventive kind of technique that you're exploring. So this is a really inventive year, and it will be for the next 6, 7 years because Uranus stays in a sign for 7 years.
Wow.
And Gemini has all to do with communication, perception, um, writing, whatever. But communication's the main theme with it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
That's
exciting to me.
It is. I have one more question for you.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
one more question. You're saying like Uranus has tech. Gemini is different. This is that. Is it to do with the naming of the star itself and why they named it?
Um, it's got to do more with the quality of what the planet represents. Astronomy is interesting when you talk
Mm,
about that relationship to astrology.
mm-hmm.
Uranus is the only planet that orbits on its side, basically, while the other planets are straight up and down. So it's kind of a maverick, even up there in the sky.
Mm,
And it has to do with our unconventionality, if we have some, as a person. is what Uranus has to do with. Maybe we
Right.
like offbeat people, um,
Hmm.
unconventional people, or maybe we can relate to young people and old people. We just like, all kinds of different people.
I gotcha. Hmm.
So, um, but Uranus is just that kind of planet.
Yeah.
It's to do with finding a new door to walk through.
Or
So,
making it.
yeah, exactly. Out enough, and maybe it'll open.
And maybe it'll open, or just find a vacant spot and put one door there and walk through it.
There you go. That's
that's,
right. Pick it
that's
open.
usually what I do. I'm like, there's no door here. Where's Home Depot?
Yeah, me too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't wait for people to have a door made for me. I'm coming in.
Yeah.
It's just I'm coming. Just watch out for me.
Yeah. Yeah, my
Wow.
wife my wife likes to say I scratched and clawed my way into the publishing world because
Hey,
I kept at it.
that's it. That's all you got to do is just keep at it. Just
Yeah,
keep going.
yeah,
Don't take no for an answer. And if you
there
get
you go.
no,
Right.
eventually you'll get your yes. You just
Yeah,
haven't run into your yes yet.
yeah,
You
totally agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, this has just been a wonderful, wonderful interview. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
I,
you.
I, oh, thank you. I want people to see your book. Again, it's Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon, Releasing the Past and Embracing the Future. And it's co-authored by Bernie Ashman, but also co-authored by Carmen, right? Carmen,
Yeah.
Carmen Turner, is that Shott
Either way, you could say shoat or shot.
or
I always
Shott?
call her shot.
Okay, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you. And it's wonderful that you and her have that alignment going where you're the total opposites, but yet come together to make a full picture, which is perfect to me.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yes, it's perfect.
Well
Well,
said.
thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put the information to the book in the description so it'll be easy for you guys to find it. But you can also find it by just typing in the name or going to Amazon.com and finding that book as well. And I want to thank you, Mr.
Thank
Ashman,
you.
for being on the show.
Thank you. I totally enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
You've enlightened me, like why and how and the names and even the orbit of of certain planets and how they're orbiting on their side. They're just
yeah,
unconventional. I feel like I'm unconventional.
yeah. I get that.
Yeah, I do. I feel like as if I'm coming in. Watch out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm not waiting for you. I'm
Yeah,
not.
no,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. And everything I have done, everybody told me, "Oh, it's not gonna work." I'm like, "Oh yeah, really? Watch me."
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So you've clawed your way in there, and I've
Yeah,
clawed my way through here, and I am happy to be here today. And I want to thank you for being here today and for clawing your way through. Because if
yeah,
you
thank
didn't
you.
do that, you and I would have never met,
Yeah, how about that, huh?
and that would have been a travesty within
I
itself.
know. No, I'm glad we crossed paths.
Definitely, because it might have been something we were supposed to do that now we've done, and we're good.
Yeah, the synchronicity. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Well,
yeah,
thank you, Bernie. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to Dare to Be Different. But most of all, Bernie will be watching the comment section below, especially on YouTube. So if you have any questions or comments or want to get in contact with him, I'm going to put his website there as well. So you can do some direct comments or you can just go to the website and ask questions. I want to thank you guys again so much for tuning in. And don't forget to always dare to be
yeah.
different.
Beautiful.
Thank you for watching.